Um, my name is Desi. Am I giving my full name? No. I've been using the Light Phone 2 since February. My initial intention was to use it for a week and then go back to my smartphone just as like a smartphone break. Um, and then I just didn't go back. I really felt zero need to go back to using my iPhone. I also think it was more about it highlighted preconceived notions I had about my smartphone. Because I think I just thought, well, I need my smartphone. It's a necessary evil. I need it. And it doesn't matter how much I want to use a light phone. Everyone needs their smartphone. So I'm gonna have to go back to it at some point. It was a shock to see by the end of that week that I really didn't feel like I needed it at all. I didn't feel less connected to people in my life. Observing in myself the procrastination, like observing, like, oh, I gotta wait for the right moment to switch over to the light phone, and it's gotta be a moment when I'm not gonna be needed or I'm not gonna need to connect with people. It was a moment that was never gonna come. So that was very reflective of what was actually going on with me. There was no right moment. The right moment was the moment that I realized that. I wasn't someone to leave the house without my phone before, just because I'm a very cautious person, and I think being a woman, like, there's a million reasons. I want to be able to call or text someone in an emergency. So to feel like I have that safety with the light phone, but not everything on top of calling and texting, was just so freeing. And I know it's still a phone, but it just feels different. It feels different going out into the world with the light phone versus a smartphone. Times where I have felt kind of left out or bad in any way is when someone else has complained about my light phone use. A friend is like, I can't send you links anymore. And they're really upset about it. And then I'm like, I'm so sorry. Let me change my life so that you'll be happy with me, again. And then I have to stop myself and remind myself, like, I'm not using the light phone for them. And that's a reflection more on them than it is on me. Friend Josh had texted me, and he asked a very technical question about, I think it was a video editing question. And I looked at this text and I was like, I can't type all this out right now. So I just picked up the phone and I called him directly, which is something normally I would never have done. I would have written a novel on my iPhone and sent it to him in texts. And he was so delighted by me calling him. He was like surprised, like he was shocked. He was just like, "Hey!" And we ended up talking for 15 minutes. Beyond just me telling him what to do with the video editing thing. People comment on it all the time while using it in public, friends and strangers alike. Yeah, my friends have been very intrigued by it whenever I pull it out. Everyone wants to touch it, everyone wants to hold it, and everyone kind of has the same reaction of being like, oh, I wish I could use something like this, but I couldn't because excuse, which is so similar. I recognize myself in them, and the truth is, I think the expectation that everyone has that you need to be immediately available all the time is a diseased one. And if I have a problem with it, then I don't want to be part of the problem. I can still, respond in a respectful amount of time and not be available all the time. And I think a lot of people actually are open to that when you explain that. It doesn't have to be this scary thing of like, I'm going to lose my job, or people aren't going to talk to me or hire me, or give me opportunities because I'm not willing to email them the second that they reach out to me. My initial thoughts on the object itself, the light phone, too. I mean, it really helps that it is so cute. It's legitimately cute. I think that was my initial thought. Once I started using it, it was difficult. It definitely was more difficult to text. I didn't find the screen too small. I like the, what is it called? Ink? The ink, like Kindle screen. I liked that. I don't know anything about technology. I really liked that because that was one of my biggest complaints about my smartphone was the light that comes from the screen. I was the biggest reader. I've been the biggest reader all of my life. I would read for hours as a kid, just get really lost in books. That's been something I think that really disappeared a bit in my adult life. Throughout my 20s and 30s, I've always read, but not really being like, I have the time and the space to lose myself in a book. Because there's always that thing of like, there's not enough time, and there's not enough time in the day. I have so much to do. And that's a really good example of the time that we lose on our phones, our smartphones, being recycled and reused, repurposed for something that actually brings us a more fulfilling joy.